Welcome back. We're 4 weeks into Season 9 and there are quite some changes to the top builds that are currently dominating the pit leaderboard. Let's begin with the Druid sitting at pit 116. That would still be the good old pulverized Druid, walking around making poison puddles hitting for billions and billions of damage. But there's actually a new old build returning, and that would be Mr. Danger sitting at pit 112. Top 10 with Flesh Render Druid. The gameplay loop is quite interesting for this one and costs you RSI. Your main damage is your defensive skills, your Earthen Bulwark, your Debilitating Roar, your Cyclone Armor, while you're spamming your ulti, pulling everyone together, resetting cooldowns, and then again doing massive hundreds of billions of damage with your defensive skills. And that's all thanks to the unique called Flesh Render. Casting a defensive skill deals 2,600 damage to nearby poisoned enemies, increased by 50x for every 100 willpower you have. In this current build, in this current version, with this current equipment, that would be 2,600% bonus damage. Now your defensive skills would be Earthen Bulwark, Cyclone Armor, Blood Howl, Debilitating Roar. And the interesting part is that your Earthen Bulwark is a nature magic skill, earth, and also a Werebear skill. Since you can use Vasili's Prayer to say your earth skills are also Werebear skills. This means that your Earthen Bulwark, being spammed with a Flesh Render, profits from all the bonuses, Werebear-wise and Earth-wise, to truly deal the maximum super damage. Which then leads to 503 billion. Wait, that's 503 billion, 131 billion, 20 billion, 72.3. That's a trillion. 1.521. That's a trillion damage. Okay, calm down there. And you're also using Iridias to pull the enemies together. In order to make this work, you have to reduce your cooldowns. Earthen Bulwark should be sitting around 6 seconds. And then with the symbiotic aspect, when a Nature's Fury key passive triggers a free skill, your non-ultimate cooldowns of the opposite type are reduced by 6 seconds. Your Petrify itself, your ultimate, is able to reset its cooldown by killing enemies or hitting a boss. And the Nature's Fury key passive, casting or channeling an Earth skill, has a chance to trigger a Storm skill that then would also reset your Earth skills, and your Storm skills could trigger Earth skills that then reset your Storm skills. Yeah, awesome. And as you can see in the cooldowns, it kind of works. He presses the ultimate, everything goes off cooldown. He presses one of the defensive skills, then the Petrify goes off cooldown, then things dies, and like it's an RSI simulator because you're going to be having to. But the intriguing part with this build is that everything in the overworld just dies. You do this in Torment 4, you press your Earthen Bulwark, everything's dead. Like, you just don't even pull things together because everything just dies in your vicinity. All the planners will be added in the description below. Now for Sorcerer, we're only at 117. That's not that much higher than Druid. I mean, Druid is sitting at 116 right behind it. And the Hydra Sorc evolved because we're now starting to use ice shards. As you can see, the top builds all having ice shards. Before you could see some ball of lightning stuff, maybe lightning spear, but that's all gone. We're not seeing these lightning spears anymore. Ice shards is now the name of the game. As we can see here in the gameplay, he's going around teleporting with very low cooldown, pulling everything together, using ulti to pull things together, and while he's doing that, spamming ice shards to stack the Ale of Verglass. I'll show you that in the planner section in a moment. And then we summon our Hydras to deal tons of damage to everyone. A bit different to the gameplay loop of just teleport, Hydra, spam your cooldowns to get your barrier up, teleport Hydra. It's also the burn variant and not the critical strike damage variant. The critical strike damage variant is fun for any normal content, if you're killing bosses, if you're doing pit up to 100, but after 100, the crit version might fall off to the burn version, as just that damage over time stacking is more efficient than dropping billions and billions of damage, as your enemies have too many trillions of life. And the reason ice shards are being used is because the Ale of Verglass, ice shards now spread out with 2 additional shards, and you deal 2% increased damage for each time ice shards damages an enemy for 5 seconds up to 100%. The helmet itself has intelligence, cooldown reduction, and attack speed, even ranks to ice shards, so you don't have to waste ranks to ice shards. Nope, you can put them all into useful stuff because the ice shards are primarily being used to stack up this 100% damage bonus. make everything just hit so much harder. The build version is by Roxy, and the player going ham was Mr. Hysteria. Now what about our friend the Barbarian? Because it's actually really close. Barb is at 112, Sorc is at 117. Barb is right behind breathing down their neck, and it was all about Lunging Strike. But hey, forget about Lunging Strike, because we're now doing Mighty Throw Barbarian. Now I personally did like the Lunging Strike gameplay, as it just easily traveled you through the dungeon and you just had a good time. With this build, you're now whirlwinding around, pulling things together. Then you get a Mighty Throw with a cooldown. We get the Hammer of Ancients. You have the Bash. And wow, that was, I need to go back. Was that almost trillions of damage? Where did that come from? So he just had everything pulled, and then 313 million. Yeah, here. So 856 billion, 3.211 trillion. 443, 946. Okay, I can see how that build then goes bonkers as you just set up for this extreme super nuke. And the way you're making it work is by stacking as many Mighty Throw ranks as possible, and every 12 seconds your next Mighty Throw detonates and deals that 600% bonus damage. And then you also get the delayed extinction. Mighty Throw and Steel Grasp now gain multiplicative damage instead of cooldown from cooldown reduction, and their damage is increased by another 500%. So as I understand, you get 500% and the cooldown reduction that you get from anywhere. Here, the 24.4% cooldown reduction makes it go even further. So we're sitting here at plus 20 ranks to Mighty Throw, 25 ranks in total, and then you're going to be actually able to be billions of damage. Nice. Actually, trillions. Now, if that doesn't seem like a fun gameplay loop, we also put the Lunging Strike planner in the description, as we uploaded a video on that. It's so good to play for normal content. I think the Mighty Throw is better for actually pushing, where the Lunging Strike is just better for existing and having fun. On Necromancer, we have a boring build and a fun build. The boring build would be the Blood Wave. You do the Shadow Blood Wave, you pull things together, they get millions of damage over time, they die. While you run in a circle and pick up your blood orbs. I don't know, the gameplay loop and it was cool to play for one season, it was interesting, but it got old really quick because you get like so many skills in your tree and they're all kind of like useless, and I don't know, like Blood Wave has lost its appeal rather nicely. It was cool to stack life and get the overpower. I'm not vibing anymore. But there's another more intricate build. Mr. Oz is playing it, and it's called the Blight build. And with the Blight build, you're running through the dungeon to pull as many dudes as possible together, activate your ultimate, Corpse Explosion, and the actual Blight to stack them up really nicely and take as much shadow damage over time as possible in a short amount of time, but not to deal damage over time. No, you're triggering your Shadow Blight key passive to actually do stacking hundreds of billions of damage. Pop, 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 chain reaction machine gun. And this only works because of one single aspect, the new Blighted one. Consecutive hits with the Shadow Blight key passive deal 70% increased damage for each hit, resetting after 6 seconds. Now the Shadow Blight key passive says that you need to hit an enemy 8 times the shadow damage, and then they take a boop, one boop. And that boop is critical strike damage though, and you can scale it up by another 450% with shadow damage, and generally just make it go bonkers. Now you get shadow damage over time with the Soul Rift, sucking twice out of your opponent. You get some crippling darkness, lucky hit chance triggers that hits the enemy every now and then. Then we get our Corpse Explosion, which is also shadow damage over time that you can stack on top of each other, and then it's like, and you get your Blight itself that also does shadow damage over time. So 3 good sources of shadow damage over time that's going to hit a whole slew of mobs here. I mean, these are 10 mobs. Each mob is taking shadow damage over time. Each mob is then being affected by the Shadow Blight, like and then inside these 6 seconds of stacking 70% consecutive damage, you're stacking it like 10, 20, 30 times. And suddenly the proc goes from millions into billions up to 100, 200, 300, 400 billions. Crazy. It's so efficient and so much fun to play. If you have the perfect amulet, you obviously go for Ranks of Terror and Cool Assessed Blood. Or you could go for the more fun version that everyone can access, and that would be with the Even Piercer amulet that gives you 13 ranks to Reaper's Pursuit. If you actually triple masterwork, it's 16 ranks. And each rank would give you another 34% more damage for the shadow skill you have in your skill bar. And right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shadow skills in the skill bar. Ta-da! I'll link you both versions, my version and the one up here with 111, but my version is the one more accessible for everyone. Let's keep Spiritborn for last and have a peek at the rogue, currently with Mr. Matthias being the number 1. And it is still the good old death trap. In this case, I do also see a poison trap added to it and twisting blades. 2 changes that we didn't have before. Before it was pretty much just death trap. And then spam your cooldown was like subterfuge, death trap, concealment, death trap, death trap, like just death trap. Honestly, at some point you just did death traps and didn't actually care about it anymore, right? You just spammed that. But I see many high super ultra billions of damage. So what changed here and what's going on now? Because this looks like a lot of poison damage over time going crazy and not just death trap. So death trap seems to be used to pull things together, but I don't see a death trap spam here, right? I see an occasional death trap and the actual damage coming from damage over time. Step 1 would be having your twisting blades orbit for a short time around you. Where you can see that as he goes around, yep, there is a twisting blade orbiting around you, and that twisting blade is always poison imbued. Then we get Poison Trap Burst for an additional 30% of its normal damage when it triggers, and that critical strikes to deal 40% increased poison damage, okay? Together with the casting ultimate skills gives you more damage, so that's what you get your Death Trap for, to pull things together. And we also increase our imbuement like mad, which actually turns us then into a poison imbuement, poison trap, alchemical admixture, poison assassin. Huh, didn't see that one coming. I thought this is going to be just another Death Trap build. I mean, still Death Trap, right? But right now, it's all about twisting blades. I love to see that. Sadly, Rogue is not doing really well compared to the others, and it takes quite some investment to even get there. That being said, if you do have an Azure Wrath, you could easily go for Penetrating Shot Rogue and have a lot of fun in Torment 4. There's a planner in the description to that penetrating build as well. Now to the number 1, our Spiritborn, actually currently led by Crushing Hands over Rake. Rake's been the most popular for the time being. Most people have been playing Rake. And technically with the Crushing Hands, you're more buried up at any given time. That being said, if I understood it right, this man had a kill here at the end where he executed the boss somehow. So he brought him down. As you can see, he's barely scratching it. That dude is not moving at all. He has 5 minutes, 48 seconds left. And then the boss gets suddenly executed. Like, right, he has all the HP left and he dies. For some reason, it counts as the official try. Now, that being said, the build hasn't changed much. You're taking still Loyalty's Mantle to increase the potency of your Jaguar Spirit Hall, and then you spam as many skills as possible, as you also, with the aspect of Plains Power, create a Mystic Circle that gives you more damage for your Ferocity stacks. You increase the Jaguar Spirit Hall with a triple Masterwork, then the Mystic Circle potency with a triple Masterwork, and the Mystic Circle potency with a triple Masterwork, and the Mystic... yeah. It's sad because I want Balazan's Max Ladle to be a cool thing, but unless you're actually triple masterworking everything and going absolutely bonkers, you're not even remotely going to reach any interesting damage values. I mean, getting to Torment 3, yes, is quite simple with the Spiritborn. Getting into Torment 4 is so much work. It might be the highest pit finisher if you have everything perfect, if you have godlike gear, but getting there is absolutely zero fun. I really do not recommend playing Spiritborn. It is atrocious and terrible. Yeah, it might be good, but it's not good for the average player. It's only good for people that have too much time on their hands. Ladies and gentlemen, which is your favorite build this season? Mine has actually been the Pulverized Druid, but I have been tempted to try the Flesh Render. That being said, I don't want to get RSI. Therefore, I actually started playing Hardcore with a Hardcore Hydra Sorc, trying to do everything solo self-out. Been an amazing journey. Check out the video and take care.